Hey there lovely people, and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Wincy Winna. Like I say, you can call me Wincy or you can call me Winna, whichever one you choose to, or Dr. White. Yeah, this is my channel. If you're new on here, you're very welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, like I say, you're the real MVP. And so today's video is really going to be short. Like you all know, I've been married for about 7 months now, and it's been a wonderful ride. Today, July 5th, actually makes it 7 months since I've been married. I got married 5th December 2020. I did my traditional marriage 3rd of December 2020. I'm going to be having some wedding planning vlogs or videos, you know, all things wedding related, coming up very soon. But for today, I just really wanted to come on here and, you know, tell you about 7 things basically, or it could be more, who knows, depends on how this video goes. Yeah, 7 things about marriage, things I've learned or things I'm still in the process of learning. And yeah, if this is something you're interested in, keep watching. So number 1 on my list is that God is very important in the institution of marriage. God is everything. You know, we serve a God, and God is the one that actually instituted marriage. And if you cannot have God, and if you cannot have Christ at the center of it all to hold it all together, then the marriage is going to be shaky. So you need God, you know, you need God, you need Jesus, you need the Holy Spirit. And what does God do in a marriage? God directs you, you know, He provides for you, He keeps you, He gives you wisdom actually to go through, you know, this marriage. When you enter the institution of marriage, it's not always a smooth ride. And so in those moments, even though yes, you love your spouse and all those good stuff, you actually really need God to come through for you. You need God to direct you. You need God to order your steps. You need God to give you beauty for ashes. So God is really important. When you have God, when you know, put and you bring forth your marriage before God, you will see that things actually work smoothly. And where does this come in? This is why I would always say that as a believer, it's actually important for you to marry a fellow believer. It just actually makes things easier. There are some things you don't have to talk about, because as believers, you know that, oh, this is against the will of God, this is against the, you know, laws and commandments of God. So you don't even have to have such conversations. When you get married to somebody that loves God, and both of you, God is the center of your marriage, you see that things actually go very smoothly. So that's one thing I've learned. You need God in your marriage. You can actually not do it on your own. Some of us will feel like we are almighty and omega and we can handle everything on our own, but trust me when I said that you actually need God, and it's very important in your marriage. Number 2 on my list is, in marriage, you know, when you're in the dating phase, you know, it's not like some people tend to hide some things. It's just that when you're dating, everybody tends to bring forward their best foot, right? So when you get married and you're getting a bit comfortable, there are some things you will notice that also, you know, when you're married, both of you come from different backgrounds. So there are some things, even if they are not necessarily bad things, it might not go well for you because maybe you were not brought up that way. And if there are things that you know you cannot really deal with, or there's something your spouse is doing and you want to correct your spouse, my other advice in marriage, or something that I've learned also in marriage, is that you have to correct your spouse in love. You know, you don't want to be a nagging wife or a husband that, you know, talks too much or shouts on the wife for any little thing that they do. You guys came together, you said you love yourself and you want to build a future together, And yes, you're going to, you're going to come across things along the line. Not everything that your spouse does will be, okay with you. But when you're at that point where your spouse needs correction, you have to do it in love. You don't want to shout and let the whole neighbors know what's going on in your house, washing your dirty linen outside. In terms of correcting, what other people get wrong is that you want to look for the appropriate time to make that correction, right? You see that your spouse is tired coming from work. That's when you want to say that thing. No, wisdom is actually needed. You want to correct in love. You love this person, you speak to them in a nice and in a calm tone. You don't want to be all here and there. So if there's something your spouse is doing as you guys grow in love and it needs correction, what I've learned in marriage is that you have to correct your spouse in love. The third thing that I've learned in marriage is that accountability matters. You and your spouse, have you guys decided that you're going to see each other get better at what you do in terms of career, spiritually, physically, and otherwise? Accountability is really, really necessary. If you guys notice, I've been away for YouTube, like I said, for 11 months, and to be fair, one of the reasons I actually came back, starting my YouTube, I would not even lie, is because of my husband. It was like, because I'm this type of person that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I want everything right, I want everything smooth, I want everything going well for me. But he told me perfection is the killer of time. He wanted me to be accountable. It was like, you own a YouTube channel, people are looking for content and you're not giving content. The same thing goes for me. When he tells me he has some certain projects at work, you want to push him. You want to be like, go babe, you can do it, or go honey, whatever you call your spouse, you can do it. You guys want to push each other and you want to be accountable, right? If you have goals to meet, make your partner know, and make sure that you're that partner that pushes your other partner or pushes your husband or your wife, to be better people. That's one thing I've learned. The fourth one that I actually learned and I actually got to experience is having wonderful in-laws. Honestly, trust me when I say having wonderful in-laws is a blessing. I cannot overemphasize. It's so funny, I've seen online where ladies actually who are dating with hope to getting married to the guy, or vice versa, are saying, oh, I wish for my mother-in-law to die before my marriage. I don't want any mother-in-law or father-in-law drama or sister-in-law drama. I'm so grateful to God that I never get to experience that. In fact, my father-in-law calls me his daughter, his doctor. That's how good it is. I just bless God for it. And this is my advice to, those that are still single, and even if you're married, prayer answers all things. Prayer works. Do you get? Even before I started dating or even before I got married, I always prayed for my husband or the man that I'm going to meet, and I always prayed for my in-laws, that I will see them as my own family. And that was actually happening to me. Having a family that cares for you, calls you, wishes you well, no drama. They even call their son to like, hope you're taking care of my daughter. I don't want to hear this or hear that. You guys should live in peace. There's nothing like having wonderful in-laws. Also, my sister-in-law has been a blessing. She's literally like an elder sister to me. Growing up, I'm the first daughter and the first child of my parents. Growing up, I've always wished to have an elder sister. This is what my sister-in-law is to me. She's so sweet, so loving, so caring. Like, she's the sister I always wished for. Like, it's like I'm living in heaven. So it's not bad for you to start praying. Wonderful in-laws are actually a blessing. It makes your life easy. It makes your marriage easy. The next thing I want to talk about is, or that I've learned, is that marriage is commitment. You have to be committed to this marriage. So many people go into marriage with a lot of ideas in their head, or with a lot of misconceptions. Do you get? Marriage is a covenant, and a covenant is actually not supposed to be broken. So that's why, you know, apart from your salvation, who you get married to or your marriage is the next biggest decision that you have to make, and you have to be careful about and prayerful about before you get into it. Because when you get into it, you have to be committed, or before you even decide to get married, you have to put this mindset in your head that, you know, I've chosen to be committed. Like me, I have made up my mind that I'm going to be committed to my husband, Royston. You know, like our marriage will work. You know, it's very easy to be unsettled, especially when you're married, because all you see in your environment are people who are divorcing their spouses, you know, people who are going through physical and domestic violence, you know, people who are going through sexual abuse and or infidelity, so many things like that. But even at that, we're children of God. That shouldn't be your mindset. I have made up my mind that I'm committed to my husband, and that our marriage will work, and that our marriage will be an example, you know, to people out there who are wishing to have a successful marriage as well. So it's all about your state of mind and all about your decision. Yes, people are divorcing and all those things, but it will not be said among you. Okay, so that's what I've learned. There's nothing like being committed to this person. You know, even when he's annoying, even when he behaves in a way that you don't like, you're like, man, yes, this is the man for me. This is the man I've gotten married to, and I'm committed to be with him, you know, till death do us part, like you said at the altar on the day you got married. Yeah, commitment. Another thing I want to talk about is that in marriage, communication is key. Communication is key. I got to learn this over time, and I am still learning this daily. You know, especially for the ladies, we expect our men, you know, to know how we're feeling, what we're feeling. But the truth is, if you don't communicate it, the chance that your spouse knows what's going through your head is like from 0 to like maybe 0.1. He won't know if you don't tell him. You know, on several occasions, my husband has done maybe 1 or 2 things to me, and in my head I feel like, oh, he knows what he has done, he should come and apologize, and I would just be carrying my face and be, you know, all grumpy the entire day, you know, unsettled. And this handsome man is just going about his life, you know, just living his life like he did nothing. And the truth is, he doesn't know that he has done anything. Not until I tell him, I'll be like, oh babe, what you did today is I felt this way, or this was how I interpreted what you said. And he'll be like, oh no, that was not what I was trying to communicate to you. And I'll be like, oh, all right, I thought that this was what you meant. I didn't feel good about it. And you see, from that moment I expressed myself. I am actually free. But imagine if I kept it in me. I'm just going to be that grumpy young lady walking around the house, not even knowing that the young man doesn't even know that, oh, what I'm thinking about. It doesn't even know that, oh, I was offended by that. So communication is key. And communication isn't even only about, oh, maybe if he wronged you or so. You also have to communicate your plans, your goal, because to be fair, when you're married, your life is actually kind of tied to this person. So some decisions you have to make in life, you have to put this person into consideration. So you want to communicate your plans and your goals, things that annoy you, things that you don't like. And like I said in the previous advice or things that I learned, you have to communicate in love. You know, you don't want to be rude, you don't want to be arrogant, you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to use abusive words. That's not how we roll in the kingdom of God, okay? So communication is key. Communicate your wants, communicate your needs. Ladies, You know, especially if he's not that type of man that is romantic or what, please help the man out. Or men, please help the women out. Tell them what you want. Like for me, sometimes I'll just be like, oh babe, I want a flower, or I want ice cream. Please communicate those things to them. You know, communicate how you're feeling. Sometimes, you know, you might feel depressed. Like recently, I think there's a particular exam I was writing and I failed it. You know, that day I was sad. It's okay to communicate how you're feeling. Like, oh, I put in my efforts into this exam and I still failed. I feel like this, I feel like that. And you see your partner is going to encourage you, going to be there for you. So you have to really communicate how you feel. Please don't leave room for assumptions. You know, assumption is a killer. So please be open and communicate. And in terms of communication, find the right atmosphere, find a conducive environment, you know, make sure it's the right timing, okay? So like I said, communication is key. The last thing I want to talk about is boundaries. So in marriage, boundaries are very, very necessary. So even without marriage, as individuals, you need to set boundaries. You have to let people know what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. And like I tell my friends, or like I tell some people, you know, this boundary of a thing starts even before you start dating, or now that you're dating and, you know, married. Whatever you allow in your relationship when you guys are dating or courting is the same thing that will follow you into marriage. I'm telling you, it's as easy as that. You know, you want to set boundaries with the opposite sex, how you would deal with them, boundaries with family members, if you're going to allow them into your home or not. In terms of boundaries, also you want to analyze how you're going to involve outsiders in your marriage. One thing I will also say that helped, and I will advise to new couples or newlyweds as well, is that if you can take at least 6 months after your wedding out, like no family members around, no sister, brother, uncle or friends living with you, just take that 6 months out, you know, get to know your spouse better, enjoy yourself, have fun, you know, don't let any intrusion. Those 6 months of your marriage are actually very, very crucial for you to really know your partner very well. So take those 6 months very seriously. It might not apply to everybody, but like with experience, like I said, it really helped I and my husband bond very well. You know, nobody in the house. I'm not saying don't have visitors or whatnot. I'm just saying don't let anybody be actively in your house, at least for 6 months after your wedding. You know, just get to know each other, know your temperament. I know you must have known these things, a bit of it, when you were dating, but marriage is actually very, very more different. You know, marriage exposes your weaknesses, your strengths, and all things in between. So yes, set boundaries for marriage is very, very important. So yeah, these are the few things I've learned in the 7 months of my marriage. Most of them can be very, very relatable, especially if you're married. If you're married and you're watching this video, please tell me the few things you've learned during the course of your marriage. Let me know how many years or how many months you've been married for, the things you've learned, the things that you're still learning. Let everyone learn under the comment section, okay? I hope that this video was very informative and you learned a thing or two. And like I always like to end my videos, I like to pray for you all. Those of you that are in a relationship, or those of you that are married, I pray that God will be the center of your marriage and your relationship. Your marriage and your relationship would be a gospel to the world. Every challenge and every struggle you're going through will come to an end in Jesus' name. I wish you a blissful marriage and a blissful relationship. God bless you until my next video. Bye.